Even though we're getting a slight pullback now, I wouldn't worry too much, because if you look at the weekly close yesterday, broke a 7-month downtrend in Bitcoin. And what that shows us is that we actually are now having an upward momentum. And usually, of course, when you break a 7-month long downtrend on the weekly, you're going to get some kind of pullback and reversal. And that's what we're seeing now. But I'm not worried. And I'm not worried because I'm seeing the signs that there is increased momentum. And with this increased momentum, a few things are going to happen. The first thing is I'm pretty convinced that Bitcoin's going to break the all-time high next. Then I'll show you 2 indicators that actually show me that as soon as we get a proper breakout on Bitcoin, what's going to happen is the dominance is going to start coming down and the alts are going to start running. And I'm going to show you exactly why or where I saw that. I'm going to show you also exactly which alts are going to be the ones that start running when this run actually starts. We got the clues last night, but I want to show it to you step by step today. So let's get going. Ooh. Okay, we're back. I'm here in Dubai, as you can see. I took a little bit of a break from the conference scene to bring you some crypto updates. There's quite a lot going on, so I wanted to quickly give you an update, and then I'm going to go back and hit the conference scene again. Lots happening today, lots happening on the conference scene, lots happening everywhere else. If you're not already subscribed, this is a brilliant time to subscribe to the channel. If you are subscribed, you know what to do. Just smash the like button. The more likes you give, the more alpha I'm going to give you guys. And today I've got a lot of alpha for you guys. I saw some signs very early this morning that alt season is actually coming. And when I say alt season is actually coming, I mean that we are entering a season where the alts are going to start popping. So you start getting 25, 30, 40% pops of altcoins in one day. And I'm going to show you a little bit of where those coins probably will be coming, because there are some signs of exactly where those coins are going to be coming from. I don't think it's going to be completely random. So specifically, if you look at the bubbles today, like you look at these bubbles, you say, okay, there are a couple of tokens that have actually run quite a bit, but you got to ask yourself a question. Are any of the tokens that you're holding actually the ones that bounced quite a bit in the last couple of days? So maybe let's go into the last week and say, okay, this is the last week. How many of you were in ApeCoin? How many of you were in _𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡? How many of you were in Beam? Actually, I was in Beam. I am in Beam in the ByBit trading competition. I think that's the one that's actually carrying my portfolio is my position in Beam actually. Let's quickly go and have a look at that. So the idea is to try and work out where these tokens are, these tokens that are actually going to be popping, and to try and catch them before they actually pop. And the truth is that the market's actually given us some yeah, I see. So Beam is the position that's carried me in this ByBit trading competition. I'm coming 70th now in our squad. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I also want to talk about this momentum, because a lot of people started to panic. I started getting a whole lot of WhatsApps. You know, why is Bitcoin reversing? Why are we back at 67,600? Is that it? I'll kind of show you where we're going with that. So let's get going, because I do have to get to some of the events today. I'm counting on you guys to smash the like button. I'll do everything else. Don't worry. I'll do everything else. You just have to smash the like button. So again, why am I not that worried? Because we finally got a weekly close that broke us out of a 7-month downtrend in Bitcoin. Now, this is quite a significant, big weekly close. So the first thing is we closed above this 7-month downtrend that you got over here. The level which we closed at, believe it or not, was exactly the same as the all-time high of September of the 2021-2022 bull run. So it's that level over there where we closed exactly. In fact, on some exchanges, it actually closed at 69,420, which was the previous all-time high. Now, from this level, or in fact, what we should note about this level is that this is the 4th highest weekly close ever on Bitcoin. So this is the fourth highest. You think in the history of Bitcoin, this is the 4th highest weekly close, broken through the 7-month-long downtrend. And pretty much from here, if you look at it, there's pretty much one more level, and that's the all-time high. Once we get to the all-time high, then we're going to price discovery, and we're going into price discovery in a period where there's a hell of a lot of momentum on our side. Okay, so when I say a hell of a lot of momentum on our side, let's just talk cause. Let's look at the cause of this momentum. Why are we having so much momentum at the moment. So there are a couple of things that you need to pay attention. The first thing is obviously the stock market. That is the chart of the S&P. The S&P is now in all-time high territory. If you look at the gold chart, and remember that the market is starting to price Bitcoin very much as digital gold. Just look at the gold chart, 2737, all-time high on gold. And so that momentum is absolutely amazing. Then we've got the Q4 momentum behind us. And so far, Q4 is playing out exactly as it should. October is up 7.7%. The latter half of October is where we got most of the gains, which is exactly the same as every other October or October, whatever you want to call it. I see today we're on the 21st of October, which means that there's still about 9 or 10 days to go in October, depending on where you are in the world. And remember that we've got Q4 momentum behind us, which on the average Q4, we get an 82% spike in the next 3 months, specifically in an election year. And the election things are working for us as well. Next part of the momentum, and I think a big test is what happens today, because last week we got $2.2 billion being bought by the Bitcoin ETFs. That's $2.2 billion of new money coming from TradFi into crypto. And that's one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about later on. But $2.2 billion is nothing to be scoffed at. That's a proper amount of money, 2.12 billion, which means that, just to give you perspective, 10% of every single ETF inflow that we've ever had in Bitcoin entered the market from TradFi last week. I mean, that just gives you a little bit of perspective of the momentum that we're actually starting to gain. 10% of every single dollar that's ever flowed into the ETFs flowed into the ETFs last week, in 1 week. Think about that. The ETFs have been going since January. We're in October, we're 10 months later, we're 40 weeks later, and 10% of the inflows happened in 1 week. That probably just gives you a sign of things to come, pretty much. The next thing that we have here is we have much more demand for Bitcoin on the open interest. When I say the open interest, that is the futures open interest, the CME futures, and the crypto exchange futures. Then we have China on our side, and this morning China did what we thought they would do. They cut their interest rates by another 25 basis points. Now, even though we thought that China would cut their interest, we thought they'd cut the interest rates. What we didn't think is that the interest rates would start coming down this quickly. So China is pretty much in a flat panic, trying to stimulate the economies, and you can see that the Chinese stock market, the Beijing 50, actually responded very, very well. And the last indicator that we have on our side that's actually giving us real momentum is this the stablecoin, total stablecoin market cap, the total stablecoin market cap. The total stablecoin market cap is nearly at all-time high. So the high of the previous cycle was $186 billion in total stablecoin market cap, and the low was about $123 billion in stablecoin market cap, and now we're on about 172 billion in 173 billion in total stablecoins on the market cap. Now, why am I saying this? Because this is new money coming into the crypto ecosystem that's not coming in via the ETFs. This is like the other pipe that's filling up the crypto ecosystem, the stablecoins, and that is starting to increase. Now, one thing we heard yesterday was that when it comes to stablecoins, you know that Andreessen Horowitz's report was quite excited about the prospects of stablecoin. Basically, what they said is that stablecoins are the first real use case, or the first or the most used use case of crypto. And what we're starting to see is that stablecoins are becoming systematically important to the stability of the US economy. I showed you a week ago when we covered the Andreessen report. I showed you that Tether and Circle collectively own more US treasuries than Germany does. And so they're becoming too big to fail, because if they fail, the US financial system may actually land up failing. Another piece of news when it comes to stablecoins is that yesterday we had an acquisition by Stripe. They acquired a platform called Bridge for $1.1 billion, and that was reported by TechCrunch. Now, you may say, okay, well, why are we talking about stablecoins? You can't buy this, you can't sell this. The truth is that we're now getting the biggest, or one of the biggest, real world vendors, or enabler of real world vendors, moving into a place where they're buying a platform that allows developers to move, store, and accept stablecoin payments with only a few lines of code. What Bridge actually does is it enables merchants or vendors to be able to accept crypto. And you can accept USD, euros, USDC, USDT, but this is enabling a whole lot of vendors to actually start accepting stable coins for payment. And when that happens, that increases the amount of stable coins in circulation, which brings liquidity onto blockchains. But it also increases general crypto adoption and general crypto usage. So this is quite a big thing. The last thing around momentum, and as I said, I think we do have a lot of momentum, and I think you'll agree with me that right now, even though we are getting the slight pullback, the momentum is very, very, very much on our side, is the election momentum. So I want you to read this quickly, because what it says is, the US elections will be initiating the year-end bull run. So far, for every pre-election period has been associated with a harbinger what was about to come. In 2016, 10.2 weeks prior to the election, before it pumped 2,700%. In 2020, Bitcoin made an 18% move 2 weeks prior to the election, before it pumped 2,700%. For 2024, this would mean an all-time high before the elections, plus 10%, with a massive pump in November and December. And so we are getting extremely, extremely, extremely close to the elections. As we get closer and closer to the elections, right now, as it stands, Donald Trump seems to be very, very, very much in the lead. He's also in the lead in a lot of the swing states. Last week, when we spoke about Trump's lead, the one thing that was a little bit concerning was that on Nate Silver's post, like we speak about poly markets, and we've spoken about how poly markets can be used to manipulate the market. And so it's always important as crypto people to step out of the crypto markets and to look at the real world markets when it comes to specifically the elections. And if you look at the elections now, even Nate Silver, he's known to call the elections the most accurate. He's got 53.1% of Trump winning. Last week, he had Harris in the lead. So last week when we spoke, he had Harris in the lead. Now we've got 53.1% of Trump actually in the lead. And I mean, I think one of the things that actually spurred this on was this marketing stunt that President Trump did. This was an absolute stroke of genius. What he did was, it seems that Kamala Harris lied about the fact that she worked at McDonald's. And so what Trump said is, you know what, if she lied about working at McDonald's, I'm going to work at McDonald's, and I'm going to show people that I worked at McDonald's longer than Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's. And that is exactly what he did. What he did. I mean, guys, perspective. This is a past and potentially future U.S. president.
It's a great franchise. It's a great company, and they've been very, very nice. And you know, if you look at really what's happening, look at the crowd over there. Look how happy everybody is. They're happy because they want hope. They need hope. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're going to give much more than hope.
What does working the fryer tell you about the people of Pennsylvania?
Make it fact.
Mr. President, you actually have worked at McDonald's now versus...
Now I have worked at McDonald's. I've now worked for 15 minutes more than Kamala.
So he says he's now worked at McDonald's for 15 minutes longer than Kamala worked at McDonald's. I mean, it was seriously awesome. And McDonald's says earlier today, the former President Trump visited McDonald's restaurant in Pennsylvania following a request made to a local franchisee. As we've seen, our brand has been a fixture of conversation, and they basically go on to say here, well, Kamala never ever worked for McDonald's. We can't find any record of Kamala working for McDonald's. So he used this PR stunt, and it just feels like when we talk about momentum, I think momentum is one of the most powerful things in the world, and right now it feels to me like Trump's got a lot more momentum than Kamala. And the markets are starting to price in every single day. Every day we get closer to the elections and Trump stays alive and Trump doesn't do anything stupid. We basically get one day closer to a potential Trump presidency. Now, if we get a Trump presidency, I think good chance the Bitcoin goes way past the all-time high. Maybe we even go past $100,000, and it happens pretty quickly. I do think, of course, like that Trump is much more favorable to markets than Kamala, than Kamala is going to be for sure. So I think what we're not getting here, I think a lot of us are maybe focused on the short term. And okay, in the short term, here we go. You know, that's it. You know, short term, we broke the all-time high, and now we broke the channel, and now we're retesting the channel. And I see a lot of people are getting a little bit what's the word? A little bit tense and oh my goodness, how can we not go up? But I think you're missing the point here. And I think this is something that I read here in the 𝗕𝗘𝗕𝗦𝗧𝗏 tweet. He says, none of us are prepared for what comes next. We forget the power of virality and exponentials when they combine. Now, when we say virality plus exponentials, I think there's a couple of things actually working for us in this cycle, okay? So the first thing is we're dealing with exponential technology. And up until now, the exponential technology hasn't been at an age where we can get exponential adoption. But now we're at a point where we are starting to get exponential adoption. It took years, but now you are getting headlines like Stripe acquiring Block for $1.1 billion. Now, as far as I'm aware, and I may be wrong, this may be the biggest crypto acquisition, real world crypto acquisition. $1.1 billion may be the real the biggest crypto acquisition that we've had so far. And so we're starting to forget the power of what happens when we have virality, which is what we've currently got. We've got huge virality on Twitter. We've got huge virality. We've now even got AI agents starting to shill bags. And, you know, we started to speak about AI agents. Yesterday we did a show and we spoke a lot about the AI agents and how they were creating tokens and how they were shilling tokens, right? And I think what we're missing here is we're missing a big thing. So first of all, this is a meta that a lot of people are getting into. These are right now, I think, the winners of the meta. So you've got Ghost, you got Genon, which is what's it called, great gains, on and on and on. You got Slop, you got Shogoth. These are the AI shilling. These are the meta of the AI shills, and I think that's great. I think what this leads to is actually going to lead to two other metas, and I don't think people are looking at those metas. We're going to start looking at them probably tomorrow. I think probably tomorrow we'll do something around these things. But what this was I think people are focusing too much on the AI coins. And I think, to be honest, there's lots of gains in the AI coins. For anyone who caught the pullback on GOAT, I mean, GOAT went back down to $150 million market cap, now it's a $350 million market cap. There's a lot of gains to be made in these AI coins, no doubt. But there are probably more stable gains that you can actually make by buying the infrastructure of the AI agents. So what we'll do sometime this week is actually make a show specifically around the infrastructure that is required to power these AI agents. That's the first thing that I think a lot of people are missing. The next thing that people are missing is, what is the difference between an AI shilling a meme coin and the AI shilling a coin with strong fundamentals, because the AI actually does all the research. And the more research it does, the more excited it gets about a coin, and therefore start shilling real coins. And so I think that where we may be going to next, and I suspect we've probably called this very, very, very early, but I think phase one is training these LLM models. And that's exactly what's happening. These LLM models are being trained, and for now what they're doing is they're just shilling AI, and we are following them in terms of and some people are buying the AI tokens that they shill. But I think the next thing around virality is that these AIs actually start doing automated research. And so what these guys do is they sorry, give me one sec. So what these AI agents actually do is they're going to start learning about tokens, and actually, just like they are promoting the bags that they hold, then I think what's going to happen is they're going to start promoting tokens that they actually hold. So I mean, just think of a world like this. Think of a world where an AI LLM is actually built using 𝗪𝗡 technology, and it finds out that it's being it's being built and hosted on 𝗪𝗡 technology, and then it goes and does the research on who's hosting it and starts talking about how amazing it is that this thing's hosting it, right? And that is probably a glimpse into something that we can expect. And I don't think that's very, very far away. I think that's actually like now-ish. I think a couple of months. I've seen what some of these AI agents can do. And yeah, someone's saying, okay, let's look at the red candle, because I think a lot of people are struggling to concentrate. Could everyone just please take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. When you break a 7-month long range, there's going to be resistance. Everyone breathe in. Deep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in through the nose, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out through the mouth. Focus on the big picture, because we are about to get into this, as 𝗙𝗧𝗏 calls it, the virality, the combination of virality and exponentials that are about to be combined. So that is the momentum that I think this market has got. And again, don't be thrown off by the short-term movements, because a lot of people are going to get flushed out now by the short-term movements. The way I see these short-term movements are, there are certain tokens that I actually wanted to get into. I missed the entries, and now I'm going to use the opportunity to close my eyes and get into the entries. Now, I'll give you some of those tokens. Some of them, like for example, Spectre AI. I wanted to get into it since the Irishman called it in front runners the other day. Problem is, there's no point. I missed the entry. The thing ran away. It ran away without me. And now I may be able to get in. So I'm going to probably get in there. I'm going to wait for it to go down a little bit more, and then I'm probably going to start getting into it. There are a whole lot of other tokens that I'm going to start buying. And the reason why I'm going to be someone's correcting me. One of the researchers says 𝗙𝗏 is God of nature or nature. Okay. So I don't know. I've heard multiple versions of that. So I think that there is a time to actually. This is probably the time to start loading up on the alts that you think that you've actually missed out on. Because what I saw yesterday, which it wasn't actually yesterday. It was actually like middle of the night here in Dubai. I woke up in the middle of the night and I looked at my phone, and the first thing that I realized. Someone says, put the prayer video on. I don't have the prayer video. I'm not at the office. I'm in Dubai. I don't have the button where I can press the prayer video. But I don't know, maybe Josh will do us a favor. Josh, is there any chance you can smash the prayer video, bro? I don't think you can. I think I need to be connected to the office system. Anyway, what I saw when I woke up middle of the night is I saw two things which convinced me that as soon as Bitcoin breaks this all-time high, the Bitcoin dominance is going to start coming down. And what we're going to get is we're going to get an alt season. I want to quickly just show you. It's a very simple thesis. It's not. You don't need to be too smart to look into this thesis. I want to show it to you quickly. So wake up in the middle of the night to do what you need to do. You know, sometimes you have to wake up in the night to do what you need to do. The first thing that I looked at was I looked at the charts. And like most people, the first thing that I saw in the charts was I saw ETH. And I was like, what? Like, how can ETH be performing better than Bitcoin? It's been a long time since I see ETH performing better than Bitcoin. And so the next thing that I did was I quickly looked at the Bitcoin dominance. And this was the picture of the Bitcoin dominance straight after Bitcoin broke out of the channel. So what we got is we got Bitcoin breaking out of the 7-month channel, Bitcoin gaining momentum, but actually as Bitcoin was gaining momentum, immediately what you saw was the Bitcoin dominance dropping, and you saw a couple of things happening. The first thing that you saw happening was you saw ETH taking off. Let's say taking off. I think just slightly taking off. In fact, what you can see here is that we had a big green candle in ETH. Okay, now it's slightly recovered. Now, like the rest of the market, it's going slightly down. But what the market is kind of telling you is it's telling you that, hold on a second. When we get a Bitcoin breakout, which is happening now-ish, all of a sudden, what you're going to get is you're going to get a slight ETH recovery. And so one of the moves that you can actually make here is you can actually say, look, maybe this is ETH time. Now, Peter Brandt, who is a chartist, and remember with Peter, he doesn't really care what he charts. He only cares that he is charting. He doesn't care about what he charts. He only cares about the shape of the chart. Now, what he's showing you here is that there is an inverted head and shoulders on ETH, and ETH seems to have completed this inverted head and shoulders pattern, and it's going to fly. And so what he says is he's now flat in ETH. Effectively, I think he's finally calling for some kind of ETH recovery. And I think just to give you some perspective about what could happen if there was an ETH recovery, you have, he says last time Bitcoin was trading at 69,000, ETH was trading at 4,200. Now we've got Bitcoin trading at 69,000, ETH trading at 2,700. Since then, we have an ETF. So it feels like if ETH catches a bid, you probably want to be in ETH. Now, look, that is the basic thing. And to be honest, I don't think that it is a bad idea to have a bag of ETH and a bag of specifically ETH beta plays. Now, I'm not a big fan of ETH, and so I've moved a lot of my ETH out of ETH, and I've started to buy some things that are going to move much quicker if ETH moves up. So, Pepe, the ETH meme coin, if you want to do that. Lido is probably a good one. ENS, Pendle, 𝗙𝗙𝗎𝗙, Rocket Pool, all these tend to move up much quicker if ETH actually recovers. Now, you can't see it now, probably because the bubbles have already corrected for the market actually moving down. But what we saw is that as soon as ETH started to go up, you had Lido going up a whole lot more. You had ENS going up a whole lot more. So, one good trade idea is to have a bag of ETH beta plays if you buy into this thesis that ETH is finally going to turn around. That is one idea, but to be honest, I'm not trading that idea. And the reason why I'm not trading that idea is because I actually saw something else in the charts. The second thing that I saw in the charts was, okay, I woke up, I see ETH up, I see Bitcoin dominance down. But the thing that caught my eye the most was actually that Solana was over $170. And then I was like, hold on, holy shit. You've now got Sol going up much more than ETH. So in fact, when you plot Sol against ETH, just look at this wick over here. Just look at what the Sol ETH chart did last night. And so that cemented my thesis, or cemented my thought that actually the proxy for altcoins this cycle is actually Sol. And that if ETH breaks, then Sol is going to break a whole lot more, right? So I think that what I saw yesterday was the minute that Bitcoin broke up above the 7-month wedge and the resistance, the minute that people got confidence that we were actually on the right track, the minute that they were ready to go and ape into Solana, or ETH and Solana. Solana was the biggest custodian by a country mile. You can see that when you look at the Sol ETH chart. And so I kind of cement my thesis to say that for me, I'm going to actually miss ETH this cycle. I've got a very small bag of, I've got a very, very, very small bag of ETH, which I'm going to hold. But actually, I'm going to continue with my thesis of actually playing the Sol play this cycle. And you can see that on all the metrics, Sol is outperforming. Solana is doing more volume than the entire ETH plus layer 2 ecosystem in the last 24 hours. We used to write this tweet around Solana doing more ETH volume than ETH. More volume than ETH. Now it's doing more volume than the entire ETH layer 2, ETH plus layer 2 ecosystem. You can see the amount of fees that they're actually generating. What you can also see is that we're in a clear uptrend of Sol dominance. In other words, the level of Sol as a percentage of the whole market. So you can see that this trend of this chart is basically a one-way trend. And so for me, what I'm saying is, look, what you can do is you can take a bag of ETH beta plays. The other thing that you can do is you can just hold a bag of Sol plays. And I think, to be honest, some kind of combination of holding a bag of Sol plays and a bag of ETH plays is probably the smartest combination. And so pretty much how I'm placing my chips this period, I have got a bag of ETH plays. I don't have a lot of ETH itself. I have some ENS, I have some Lido, I have some Rocket Pool, because I just think that those are the ones that run the most when ETH starts running. But much more than that, what I've done is I've taken a massive position on Sol. And I want to show you the tokens that I've taken a position on. The first token that, of course, I've taken a massive position on. And I took more actually last week at about 45 cents. So is Drift. Drift is going to be the biggest perpetuals play on Sol. As you know, Multicoin wrote a report around Drift, and in this report, I think they said our base case is the $3.58, which is 7x above where the current market price is. And to be honest, I think I agree with him. And so I've loaded up big time on Drift. Again, remember that the VCs paid 30 cents for their tokens, but the VCs are locked for at least 12 months, plus ongoing unlocks after the 12 months. The next one that I've taken a very big position is Raydium. So Raydium, I took my position at about 180, 190. And it's kind of based on this thesis, even though I think this thesis is a little bit flawed. They compare Jupiter the market cap of Jupiter to the market cap of Radium. The market cap of Jupiter, if you look at a fully diluted market cap, let's quickly just go there. I think it was about 7 billion or 10 billion. Let's quickly just have a look at it. So as you can see, I'm on very, very, very slow hotel internet here, but we are here and we are bringing you a show and it's working. So the fully diluted valuation on Jupiter is about $10 billion. And the fully diluted valuation of Radium, if I'm not mistaken, is about $1 billion or $1.2 billion. So $1.267 billion. Now, if you just look at the basic fundamentals here, here they are. Here they are. Okay, so you're saying that the market cap is about 10 billion versus 1 billion, and the revenue in the last 90 days is 63 million. So think about this. In the last 90 days, Radium did $63 million worth of revenue. Times that by 4, so let's annualize revenue calculated. So $63 million in revenue. That means that it's trading on a PE of less than 20. Okay, now that to me is probably a good time or a good valuation to be buying it, which is why I've increased my holdings of Radium. But the thesis for me here is to just hold a good bag of Solana tokens. Another one which I hold a lot of is Nosana, which is a deep in play on Solana. So kind of like, I'm not looking too deep into this. The markets told me that Sol is going to explode if Bitcoin breaks. And so there's such an easy trade. The easy trade is just to hold a bag of Sol, hold Drift, hold Radium. If you're into the LST play, hold Sanctum. You can hold Metaplex. Metaplex also doing very well. You can hold 1 or 2 meme coins on Solana. The other thing that I would be looking at right now with a very, very, very serious lens is I'd be looking at 𝗙𝗔𝗔. And the reason why I said you should be looking at 𝗙𝗔𝗔 is similar to the thesis that I had on Drift, is that the VCs, the last round that Drift raised at a fully diluted, 𝗙𝗔𝗔 raised at a fully diluted valuation of $250 million. Now that $250 million round was actually with a 12-month lockup for the VCs. So what you got is this scenario where the VCs paid $250 million, but they have a 12-month lockup with 12-month vesting. You can buy it at $340 million, right? With no lockup and no vesting. You can just buy it on the open market for $340 million. Now, ask yourself, where would you rather be? Would you rather be buying something at $340 million fully diluted, or at $250 million with a 12-month lockup and then a 12-month thing? Ivan's asking what happened with the 𝗙𝗔𝗔 airdrop. So if you participated in the 𝗙𝗔𝗔 airdrop in the first season, well done. You definitely got your airdrop, or you should have got your airdrop. If not, just go and check your wallet. If not, what I recommend you do is go and try and use the bridge again, because there is okay, we're getting a beautiful Sunday. So what we're getting here is we're getting the airdrop season 2, which is actually okay, we'll put in the link, the 𝗙𝗔𝗔 link. Josh, if you could get the 𝗙𝗔𝗔 link in for us. But we're getting season 2 of the 𝗙𝗔𝗔 airdrop. So you can either get the airdrop, or you can just be buying. You can just go and actually land up buying this token. So I think a lot of people are looking at this market and they're looking too deep into this market. They're trying to do too many things, when the reality is that all you need to do if you want to beat this market is hold some Bitcoin, hold some ETH layer 2s, and then just hold a big bag of the Solana ecosystems. Just think of what the ETH ecosystem tokens did. Just think of what the ETH ecosystem tokens did. Let me just grab something here. Just think of what the ETH ecosystem tokens did the last time that when ETH was the darling of the cycle. Just think of what all the ETH bags did. Cool, so that is what I do. A couple of other things that I noticed. The first thing is there's a massive RWA narrative which is brewing in the background. And I think you need to pay close attention to this RWA narrative that's in the background. Mantra is launching their mainnet. Their mainnet is I think scheduled to launch tomorrow, Wednesday. They spoke today at Cosmoverse, and they mentioned specifically, they mentioned their mainnet coming like any day now. So I think just keep your eyes on that, and then let's see what that actually does with the price. There's a massive RWA real world asset narrative that's happening. I saw another blockchain which did strike my attention. It's one called 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡𝗧. The reason why I'm taking a look at this blockchain, they are one of our sponsors, but the reason why I'm looking at this blockchain is because they are a hybrid blockchain. They are permissioned and they are permissionless. So in other words, some companies won't be able to use blockchain because they want to use like private blockchains, and other ones want to use more public blockchains. And so what you can do is what this blockchain allows is it allows for both. And so these are the things that are starting to come out. This is what I saw today at Cosmoverse. This is what I'm seeing here in Dubai. I'm seeing a massive real world asset narrative actually start playing out. And this real world asset narrative that's starting to play out is starting to translate into things like Mantra potentially running, potentially new stuff actually running, and stuff like that. See someone saying, Ran, what are your thoughts on 𝗪𝗥𝗢𝗡𝗥𝗧? I think 𝗪𝗥𝗢𝗡𝗥𝗢 is the best meme media station, or the only meme media station out there. Yeah, so what else? I think that's pretty much what I'm seeing right now. I'm comfortable with this momentum. I mean, yes, I think we must attempt to stay out of this range. I think if we close the daily today out of this range over here, let's actually just zoom into the daily chart. Here it is. There's the daily chart. I think if we just stay above this line over here, I think we're fine. I think this is a normal retest. As I said, I think the momentum is very much on our side. I think the closer we get the elections and the more Trump lands up being in power or close to being in power, I think the more money, the more chances that the price actually continues to go up. But I mean, I think regardless of that, we've got US rates coming down. We've also got China doing stimulus. I think it's pretty much almost like you're not going to be able to stop this momentum. And I think that the safest thing to do, have a bag of, you've got to have your popcorn tokens. You've got to have the ones that you think are actually going to do well. And maybe when you get a day like this, it's a good time to actually snap up those ones. But otherwise, what you want to do is you just want to have a couple of those ETH bags, a couple of those Sol bags, and then maybe a couple of gaming tokens. And don't look for too much, because the momentum will basically take you to where you need to get to. I see the winner Bitcoin is up here. Let's see how many people have actually predicted. Okay, there's a lot of people that are starting to actually predict. Remember, if you want to predict, what you need to do is you need to go in here. You need to have an exchange account with any Crypto Banter link. If you haven't got one, just open up one here. Predict the price of Bitcoin between on the 1st of January 2025, and if you are the person that predicts the closest price to Bitcoin, you will get the Bitcoin. Now remember how this works. You get one prediction per week per exchange account that you got. So the more exchange accounts that you've got, the more chance you've got, and we'll be giving away the Bitcoin the minute we get back from vacation in January. All right, so guys, listen, I'm going to go back to doing what I do here in Dubai, to conferencing. I had to bring you some of the alpha. I'm going to, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.